Big fantasy football has a major problem, and it's going to be with me because they may know who I am, but they do not know why we are here. We are looking at the waiver wire again, folks. We're looking at big fantasy football, what they're saying on a Monday, and this gives us value because this gives us a view of the market and what our league mates might be looking at in terms of the waiver wire. Also gives us a look at market inefficiencies, guys who are being promoted that shouldn't be, guys are being overreacted, and this is another look at the waiver wire. We dropped a waiver wire video yesterday. We beat all these guys to the punch. We beat them out deeper and better. Go check that out. But before we dig in, you need to click that subscribe button right now. We go deeper on the waiver wire than anybody else, and this video is a testament to that. On top of that, we're going to help you set your lineups, rankings, looking at matchups, and we're deep diving all the trending players. Anybody that gets remotely a little bit of buzz gets a deep dive. You get the advanced analytics, which are hard to find. You got to pay up for those. And then you get a rundown on their situation so you can make your choice on what you want to do with that player. Click that button. Stop missing out. Ric Flair's watching. You don't want to disappoint Ric Flair. Devin Singletary mentioned a lot. They are touch chasing, snap chasing son of a guns here. 8 rushing attempts, 43 yards. You got some volume in this matchup. Are you going to go over the moon with Devin Singletary? That is your question here. Is this what you're going to do? Or are we going to go back and forth with the other running backs? Is that what you're looking at? You do have the Bears on the road, but then you got the Packers. That's something to pay attention to. I would look at this as a dire need situation. 72% roster rate already on Sleeper. I look at this as a dire need situation. Dylan Sampson. I don't know if they caught the news that Quinshon Judkins last week was day-to-day, and that was a whole week ago, and they were on bye. And Judkins is the stud here. They got a matchup against the Jets. And we're going to get more news on Judkins throughout the week. I do a lot of Browns content making fun of the Browns. I'll tell you this. They have not talked about this one bit. I know they talk a lot of shit. They talk a lot of Myles Garrett. They talk a lot about trade possibilities. Those are the headlines. The running back is not. That is the news right now. So I don't know why they're chasing this. I get it. Quinshon banged up. Maybe so, maybe so. We'll catch a little bit more news coming out of the woodwork. I would watch that, but he was day-to-day. So that is something to pay attention to. So Dylan Sampson will probably get 5 to 6 targets if Quinshon's out. I think the odds, considering the news, considering he was day-to-day a week ago, is less likely. Just pay attention to the news here. Also, low volume. Slow-paced offense that can't throw it more than 5 yards. Isaiah Davis. Now they're prepping for the trade talks. That's what they're doing here. They're prepping for the trade talks. We've been doing this for the past month here because we do not want to fight the fab. You don't want to fight the fab. You don't want to blow fab on players when you don't have to if you got a roster spot available. You're not using that last roster spot much this season outside of stashing because that last player usually ain't cashing and you're using them about once or twice out of the year. This is a player here that should have been stashed all along, coming off the bye against the Browns. And if Breece Hall gets moved today, tomorrow, it's a fab fight. Now, if you stash, now you got a fab fight. That's the thing about that. He would be okay. He would at least get the Trey Sermon effect in this offense. This is a stagnant offense. This offense sucks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no argument. This offense sucks. But we're seeing some good things here. 9 targets in his last 2 games, getting volume. You would at least get the Trey Sermon effect, which means you'll be decent in fantasy once out of like 3.5-ish games or so. Blake Corum. We've been saying to stash him all year long. He will get the Kyren Williams workload, the treatments, if Kyren Williams goes down. He is like the ultimate stash play. That's the thing about him. He is the ultimate stash move. If I don't have Kyron, I want Blake anyways. Because if Kyron goes down, he's getting the Kyron workload, and that's an easy call out. This is what they're saying. I just typed in fantasy football week 10 waiver wire and just went off the top. So there's other places to look at, but I ain't got all day either. And I already know what the waiver wire should be looking like because I can do this like middle of the second slate almost and get this wrapped up and do it better than these guys. And you're looking at Devin Singletary was hot. You're looking at Dylan Sampson was hot with all the sites. Other names, Tank, Algier, Kenny Gainwell, Basil Tootin. Get your handcuffs in order. That's what that's saying. Terrell Jennings, that's actually kind of legit. That's actually kind of legit if they're still banged up and they don't make a move for running back. Sean Tucker, you really got to be in a deeper scenario here. And Fantasy Life just threw out some names. Keaton Mitchell, potential for trade. Manny Wilson, Cuff, Jalen Wright. I talk about him as a handcuff piece, as a shotgun running back in deeper leagues. Brian Robinson, Cuff, Brashard Smith, because he's always a hot name. Devin Neal. Yeah, if Kamara gets traded, Tajay Spears should be rostered. I have a lot of start-sit questions with him. Let me know your thoughts. Which site has the better list at running back? I want to hear that below. At wide receiver, Alec Pierce is a hot name. 13 targets in a matchup in a game script that broke. Remember, the game script broke. Colts behind. We don't normally see the Colts behind, but we do know about Alec Pierce, and we've been talking about him most of the season. Of course, we did not talk about him when he was banged up, but he's the deep ball dandy in this offense. He gets decent volume. He hits roughly about every other game. Roughly about every other game to the fairway. Last year, he had 3 or 4 big weeks because he's a deep ball dandy. And he can get you bigger weeks than 17 due to that. He's a big-time prospect when it comes to air yards, deep targets downfield. You bring in 1 or 2 of those, you're going to splash and push for wide receiver 1 status. I like him as a flex gamble. I don't like him as a steady wide receiver 2 in lineups. I like him as a flex gamble, as a what-the-heck flex. Matchup don't matter. You're just waiting to see if the deep ball connects. Christian Watson should be rostered. Should be rostered. You're telling me active leagues watched him score 12.5 PPR fantasy points on 4 targets, decent draft capital, 4.3 speed, and an offense that's always trending when it comes to fantasy football buzz, and let him sit there on the waiver wire with a matchup against the Panthers. You're telling me that. You're telling me that. You're telling me that. He might get released and you pick him back up. That might happen as people are turning and burning. That might happen. I look for him to be rostered. He was in a fair bit of start-sit questions, too, in the live stream. I look for him to be rostered all leagues that people are usually looking up waiver wire content, that are looking up videos. I think he's a good pickup. And same terms of Alec Pierce as a deep ball dandy. It's going to happen randomly. And I said that in his unique video, that he has the Will Fuller effect. It's Jameson Williams effect. It's just randomly. Deep balls downfield. You do not know when it's going to cash, but he has the potential to cash big a few times this season. Parker Washington, he's picked up. Like, he shouldn't be on waivers. Once Hunter went down, I did his unique video. It blew up fast. It blew up quick. People were looking at him. He was in a lot of start-sit questions on Sunday morning, gauging the market from that, because I'm active in the streets. I'm active in these streets. That's how you got to do it. You can't just look at the roster rates. Like, that's just not how it works. And you also have to look at strategies off the waiver wire. You got to be ahead of this. So Parker Washington is getting volume in his offense, 19 targets in his last 2 outings. Prior to that, 4-3-2. Obviously, Hunter was there. He got 11 spot in targets on week 3 against Houston. He's a pickup. Now, how do I grade him? I grade him as a flex gamble. I don't grade him as a steady wide receiver 2 yet, even though he cashed in fantasy in the last 2 games. I want to see more. I want to see this offense evolve with him in there. I don't trust it 100%. I don't think he's that great of a player, but I think he's in a great situation where if he develops and steps it up, he could cash. Tory Horton. I like Tory Horton. I like him. We're looking at a rookie here with a good prospect profile. I like him a lot. News came out late about Cooper Kupp. I should have got a unique video out on him anyways. I should have just did it. And whatever happened with Kupp's status. I should have just did that. That's my bad. Like, I'm more aggressive than that. You need to hold me accountable and be more aggressive or ask. But 2 touchdowns, 4 targets, 4 balls caught, 48 yards. I like him as a flex gamble with Kupp out. I like him a lot. I like him, period. I like him. This is not the first time he's been in waiver wire content for us. Why do I like him? Why have we been talking him up prior when others haven't been? Because you'll see those 3 touchdowns. We see how he wins on the field. That's just getting deep downfield. When Kupp's out there, short shit. When you're seeing JSN, he's everywhere, but also like short to intermediate, the middle of the field, but still everywhere. Deep ball city, deep plays, the one-on-ones, the throw-em-ups. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing more of that if he's out there on the field. And with Kupp out, more routes ran. I like Horton. I like him as a flex gamble. Flex gambles mean these are like 50-50 plays. You got 3 of him there right now. Pierce, Watson, and Horton. And maybe I said another one, but maybe my CTE is acting up. These are the wide receivers we're looking at here. Watson and Washington more than likely picked up in your league. Pierce is a top get, top look due to the production. Tory Horton, everybody talking him up. He had a big moment last week. Fantasy Twitter, too, is the market these guys look at. These guys just hang out there. That is the lounge for them. They like to suck each other off on fantasy football Twitter, all the analysts. That's just all they do. That's just all they do. They don't take you guys into consideration and what you guys are looking in your leagues. They just suck each other off. When you're looking at this, though, DK rostered, Christian Kirk, sure, ambiguous, though. Yoshi in 16-team plusers. Devon Bailey, maybe if there's a trade, but it's still the Saints. It's still Shuck. Trey Tucker, we talk about him every week, every other week scenario. Malik Washington sucks. He's a short target merchant. He's good for what he is, but for fantasy, 12-team leagues, he's too rough. He's too volatile. You're looking at all of my Zickas here. We're getting a lot of targets. Like, I think he should have been mentioned more. Like, I think he should have been mentioned a little bit more, especially with Luther Burden out. They're not pushing as deep here to Romo Dunze. The ball's going to other places. If it has to go other places, he's a good flex gamble, especially in those matchups where you see a higher over-under. Troy Franklin's roster. Darius Slayton has that Jamison Williams effect, but you don't trust the quarterback play as much. Tez Johnson, rostered. Which site you like the best here when it comes to this analysis right now? Colston, Loveland, everybody's talking him up. Everybody should be talking him up. He's a hot piece off the waiver wire. He's at least a first-round pick, good ball skills. I like him a lot as a prospect. He might still need some more fine-tuning. He was out during the summer, like he missed a boatload of practices, so he might need more developing in the system. But when he hits, he's going to hit big. And when he develops and once he gets fully acclimated, which could be now, but I just want to preface that, he's going to hit big. He is the top tight end, and he could be your next Gadsden right off the waiver wire. Luke Musgrave is the fill-in right now with Kraft out. Like, if you lost your Kraft mac and cheese and you want to get another side dish and you're looking at Colston, Loveland, and you don't know which one to go after, Loveland might require more fab when looking at this. Luke Musgrave, though, will require some. He might be a shade cheaper. He's a highly athletic prospect on a team that pushes it. He also has some moments where he hit in fantasy production. I think he's going to be a solid pick. Tight ends are volatile. They're up and down. That's just the name of the game at the position. Dalton Schultz. He's a hitter this week. He's hit 3 times this season. I don't like him. Why I don't like him is he gets good volume. He runs a large amount of routes. He's always around. This year, last year, 5, 6-ish targets a game, sometimes more, sometimes less. He doesn't do much with it. That's just it. He just doesn't do much with it. But if you need volume, targets, routes ran, opportunities, nothing else on the waiver wire, Loveland has been stashed because he's been stashed in leagues. Now you're looking at Musgrave, and you feel like you got to fight for him off the waiver wire. He's at least running routes and getting targets. Looking at these sites here, Colston, Loveland all the way, Dalton, Schultz. Luke Musgrave got forgotten about by fantasy pros. That's a whoopsie by them, but they get the most eyes on them as well. PFF's behind a paywall here. I pay for that. So you're getting a free look there. Fantasy life is like hit or miss. Sports Illustrated, like there's nobody from Big Fantasy there off Twitter, but they get the big fantasy clicks. They're solid. PFF's usually better when it comes to deeper plays and everything being more rounded out. When I'm looking at the list here, Mason Taylor's up and down. He's getting targets. Cade Otton could be a sneaky pickup for you, considering Mike Evans is out. Theo Johnson, I get him in waiver wire questions. He should be rostered. AJ Barner is an up and down play. That's a guy to look at here. He's a touchdown gamble every given Sunday. He wasn't mentioned in most of them, but still, that's a guy to look at. Isaiah Likely, Darren Waller as deeper plays, other plays to look at here for your tight end spot. Which one do you like the most? Which publication you're rocking with? I could do more, but I don't have all day to do that. That's what Big Fantasy is saying. I don't agree with Big Fantasy 100% of the time, but again, the market's going to market. And the guys in your league is going to follow a lot of this if they're looking up things on the websites, on the internet. And they're going to type in the waiver wire, search on the top lists, see who's getting the most traffic, and they're getting the most traffic for a reason. That's the market to look at. And I don't agree with them 100%. You can definitely tell by how I said things. And I'm better and deeper and more savvy when it comes to navigating the waiver wire than them. And then everybody else on YouTube, because I'm the best at it. Let me know what you think, though, in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.